Welcome back, dear viewers, and our first guest of the evening is Alsayegh, PhD candidate and teaching assistant at Exeter University. Good evening, Ali. It's a real pleasure to have you with us on Hala.
Good evening. Pleasure is all mine.
Yeah. So we are really wondering about what do you do, like in your career and your path you're taking. What exactly you do? Will you please tell us more about yourself? And how did you get there? Like when we mention Exeter University, it's a university outside of Kuwait, and you're a teacher assistant there. Tell us please more about it.
So essentially at this moment in time, I'm a PhD candidate at the University of Exeter, the Institute of Arab and Islamic Studies. I'm also a teaching assistant there. So I teach two modules, one of which is about the politics and economics of the Middle East, and another one about armed movements in the Middle East. But the academic path to get there, it was different, right? I started my bachelor's in Newcastle.
That's
from
great.
2015 to 18. I started to become a bit more societally active and politically active.
That's great.
I contributed and was a member of the Islamic Society there and Poetry Society. I also at some point even sent a policy recommendation letter to the Foreign Ministry here during the Philippines crisis in order to kind of recommend a way to solve what was going on at that time. Wrapped it all up with a graduation speech in front of a very talented bunch of people.
That's great.
Continued on to my master's in the School of Oriental and African
Amazing.
Studies, 2 years in Kuwait, then went on to my PhD.
We're really proud of your achievements, Ali. You're a hardworking person, and you dedicated yourself to be an academic person, let's say, going deep into the academic field and do postgraduate studies. But we're wondering also, have you previously worked in Kuwait?
So yeah, between my master's and my PhD, I spent 2 years in Kuwait. And in these 2 years, I did work for a couple of different organizations, one of which was the United Nations Development Program. I worked as the communications officer for about just over a year.
That's great.
Also, I worked for one of the parliament members, or not parliament members, but someone who aspired to be in parliament. I worked for her campaign team. I volunteered at the Amiri Hospital during COVID.
That's great.
And also I'm a member and representative of the Kuwait House for National Works, which is a museum that seeks to preserve a key moment in Kuwaiti history, which is Saddam's invasion of Kuwait in 1990.
That's great.
At the moment it's temporarily closed, but the government has expressed its intent to reopen it as soon as possible, and we do have high hopes that they will indeed follow through on their promises soon.
Well, that's great. So you're doing, mashallah, activities inside Kuwait and outside Kuwait, which is really great. Which leads us also to think, after you finish, inshallah, your PhD, how many years left now?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
Let's say, inshallah, after 2 years, are you planning to work in Kuwait or stay outboard?
Definitely my aim is to go back to Kuwait and apply for a job at one of the universities here. Because as someone who's an aspiring academic, I want definitely to teach at the university level. And a core reason behind that is, it's always a blessing to be able to influence the future generation wherever you are in the world. But it's different when you have a direct opportunity to influence the future generations in the place that you grew up in, the place that your family lives in, and the place that you see your future in.
Definitely. So, so we will go back. We're not done from the PhD part of your, let's say, the path you're taking after this break. So, dear viewers, we will take a break, and we'll be right back. Stay tuned. Welcome back, dear viewers, and we're back with our first guest of the evening, Alsayegh, PhD candidate and teaching assistant at Exeter University. So we're still with the subject of your PhD.
Yes.
Will you please tell us about your current PhD work and why you decided to specialize in the field you're going to mention now?
Okay, so I'll start with the second half of the question, which is why I decided to go into this direction, right? One day, a professor of mine from Newcastle University, Dr. Una McGahern, introduced me to this idea about the role of emotions in politics, particularly when it comes to collective action, peaceful and non-peaceful. And the more I delved deeper into it, the more the literature on political psychology and neuroscience confirmed that emotions have a fundamental impact on human decision making.
Exactly.
Because emotions affect the prioritization of desires, it affects your risk assessments, the evaluations of success, and therefore it creates a sort of fuel by which takes you in a particular direction. And so when I realized this, I thought to myself, what if there was someone who understood this? When I say someone, I mean a political actor, politician, a political leader. Would they not be able to use this for personal gain?
Definitely.
And for me, this posed a very problematic situation. And then at that point, I created this theory called emotional entrepreneurialism, which is a way or a theory that helps people understand how political leaders stimulate emotions in accordance to their political objectives.
Well, that's a really great topic you just mentioned, Ali. So when it comes to this direction you've chosen, where do you think you can go with this, like focusing on emotions in politics?
Yeah. So I think I definitely start answering that question with referring to a core tenet within this theory, which is something called the affective bond. So political leaders, in order to foster trust, loyalty, and commitment within their followers, they have to create perceptions of themselves to their constituents of being symbols of hope, meaning that change or beneficial outcomes are dependent on them. Authority, meaning that they have the legitimacy to talk about the field that they are referring to. And then authenticity, meaning that they are well-intentioned. And unfortunately, throughout the years, I've noticed that a lot of political actors in this country and abroad really use this idea in order to formulate an electoral base, right? Mm-hmm. My work specifically is about collective action, peaceful and non-peaceful, but if I'm thinking more about the way it impacts Kuwait, I would like to extend this theory and start talking a little bit more about how this works in electoral politics. For years, we always complain about people who run for parliament and how they speak directly to the emotions of people. Mm-hmm. They almost try to take advantage of the emotions of people. And unfortunately, people go along with this, not because in some way that they are to blame, but there hasn't been any real work to kind of make them more conscious of the processes that are happening around them. So in the future, I'd like to extend this theory. I'd like to take it to a point where I can write a pamphlet or a book to explain to people what is happening when a politician is speaking to them. And if that politician is trying to take advantage of their passions or trying to talk to their capacity for reason. And wrapping this all up, it's important that we differentiate between the two. Because those politicians who use people's emotions, they will be in positions that determine the future of the nation. Mm-hmm. And those who reach those positions based upon the whims of the passions rather than the human capacity for reason will definitely not be doing a good job in ensuring the future of this country.
Okay, so that's in the, let's say, in the political field or in politics. So let's put politics aside and focus more on Ali's experience. You have really enthusiasm and passion when it comes to the field of emotions. Has it worked elsewhere, like in your workplace, anywhere in the society? If you have any other examples.
Yeah, definitely.
Or communities also.
Yes. During my time at SOAS, during my master's, I created this event called I Have Something to Say. And at the core of it is this understanding of the way that emotions operate. And what this event tries to do is create a space and opportunity for students and staff to overcome their fear of public speaking. So I'd perform or create a stage for them, bring an audience, and give them the opportunity to come up on stage and share an intimate and personal story to them in front of people who they don't know. And this story has to be one of how they experienced fear and overcame it. And the whole idea behind this is when they overcome the fear of public speaking, fear does not eradicate, it does not just disappear, it is replaced. And it's replaced by another more empowering emotion, which is hope. And when there is an increase of hope within oneself and a disappearance or replacement of fear, the more that person starts to have more confidence and belief in themselves to really realize their potential and act upon the talents they have to make meaningful change for not only themselves, but society around them.
Well, that's really good. Do you want to mention anything about the, you made me interested, like in this event, like I have something to say. It's really encouraging everyone to speak up, let's say, and encourage them to share their experiences in every field, either they are students or employees or senior citizens, etc., which is really encouraging. Do you have something to say about it?
Oh, yeah, I've always had something to say about it.
That's great.
One particular aspect of it, if we move away from the kind of individual psychological emancipation that takes place when someone takes part in this event, is also the communitarian aspect of it. And when I say communitarian aspect, it's because when somebody comes up on this stage, they come up as a random person. Someone that you may have seen walking down the street or in whatever institution that you're in. Maybe you see them even just as a colleague.
Exactly.
After this event, after they share their story with you, what happens is there's a humanizing effect from the watcher upon the person who is giving his or her speech. They start to understand that person as a human with a story rather than just some random person in the street. And what that motivates within people is this willingness to engage in more constructive dialogue with that person, cooperate with them in a more positive way. And when we put this in the context of the institution or the direct environment by which the event takes place, what this motivates is more cooperation between individuals to engage in collective and positive action to change not only the institution, but the environment around this institution.
Well, that's really great and well explained. So tell us, from where you get your thoughts, like for creating events such as events like that, and something in the future, like this name, I have something to say, from where it came from, like from where you get your thoughts. Tell us, please.
So one day as I was thinking through this event, I've come to realize that I'm not the person that will be creating a life-changing medicine for millions. I'm not the person, and possibly will not be the person, that creates a book that changes the perspectives of millions of people. But what I did realize is wherever I go, there are people with that potential. But what's holding them back all the time is this fear and anxiety that they have within themselves.
Fear of failing.
Fear of failure, fear and lack of belief in themselves, right? Everybody has that inherent potential. But they haven't had the opportunity sometimes to overcome that which pulls them back. So I provided this event in a way to try to create a domino effect wherein after they overcome this fear, the fear of public speaking, they can move on to overcome other fears and continually replacing fear and increasing hope within their lives and within themselves to really realize their potential, work towards making a change for themselves and really fulfilling their purpose.
Yeah. So now it's time to take some exclusive news for you, like especially for Hala Kuwait. So when are you planning to do similar event in Kuwait?
At the moment, the date is tentative. But I definitely think
there's
that
potential for it.
There is a potential for it, and that is one of my aims. After I finish from my PhD work, I will be looking for a job here in Kuwait at one of the universities, and the aim there is not just to continue my research or teach in a classroom setting, but also bring this event that took place in Exeter, London, Rwanda. I want to take this event here and make it work in Kuwait, because the students here in Kuwait, the Kuwaiti students and non-Kuwaiti students, have a lot of potential. But like other students around the world, something pulls them back, which is this fear, which is this anxiety.
Exactly.
And for me to bring this event to them is a way to contribute and give back to this country which has given me a lot.
Definitely.
And a way to help people kind of realize what is within themselves, and then again, and I repeat myself here,
Definitely.
create change for themselves and the world around them.
Definitely. You traveled, you spent a lot of, let's say, emotions and efforts to study and reach, mashallah, your PhD, which is really inspiring to us. And thank you for this inspiring information. And we are really thankful to you on Hala Kuwait to be with us tonight. And we wish you the best of luck with your future endeavors.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
It's
Thank
really
you for
a pleasure.
having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The viewers, we just had with us Alsayegh, PhD candidate and teaching assistant at Exeter University. Now let's go to our second report of the evening, something everyone's mentioning, which is diet trends. Let's have a look at it. I'll be right back. Stay tuned.